Hi, welcome to Julie's Yard and Garden. Today we're going to talk about documenting your garden. Okay, documenting your garden may seem a little bit weird and you may say why, but one of the reasons that I like to write things down is so that I know what worked and what didn't. At the end of each year, I always think, oh, hey, I'm never going to do that again, or oh, hey, this is great, I'm going to do that again, but you never know what's going to happen. I started at very first just by writing a bunch of stuff down on pieces of paper, which is great. And you can do that. You can put it in a notebook, you can put it in a file, whatever works for you. One of the things that I started doing a few years ago is actually making a map of my garden. Anyway, what you can do with that is you can write down where things were located so you know if that location worked for a specific kind of plant or if it didn't, and you can change it the next year. Another thing that I have done before is to take tags from plants that I have planted in certain pots, and I wrote down the year and which pot I planted it in, and then I saved the tags of the plants that I had purchased for those pots in case I wanted to recreate the same kind of pot that I had done before. Okay, another thing that you can do is make a list of seeds that you would like to buy, seeds that you need to buy if you run out of things. I used my last zucchini seeds this year, so that's definitely on my list of things to get. But you definitely don't want to overdo it. That's something that I can just keep in my phone. You'll hear about plants, throughout the year, and you think, oh, hey, I want to try that one. Go ahead and put them in your list, and it's a great way to kind of keep track of things. And when you actually get down to buying your seeds or buying your plants, then you already have a list compiled, and it's a lot easier than trying to rack your brain and say, oh my gosh, what was it that I was thinking, or what did so-and-so tell me 6 months ago that was a great variety of bean that I would like to try. One little bit of advice that I would give as far as buying seeds is don't go too crazy. Especially if you're a beginning gardener, make sure that you try 1 or 2 new things a year, but don't try 7 or 8, because what that does is you'll be overwhelmed by not knowing where to plant it, how to plant it, what time to plant it. There's just a lot of things that go on. So if you try 1 or 2 new things a year, then that's a really good idea, especially if you're just getting started. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with a whole bunch of different things at once. Another thing that will be interesting to see as you go from year to year, if you document the things that you've done in your garden, is that you'll be able to see the growth of your garden. And it doesn't necessarily mean size, but it can. When I very first started learning about raised bed gardening, I started off with just 2 beds, and now I'm up to 9. But I still do a combination of in-ground and raised bed gardening, and they both have their benefits, so I like to use both. I did not anticipate getting another, a whole bunch of other boxes, and I was actually surprised when I went around and counted how many I had, that I was actually up to 9 raised beds. But I also have a lot of concrete in my yard, and so I've actually put 3 last year on the concrete so that I could just have extra spaces to plant. I would also like to encourage including flowers in your garden, because it attracts the pollinators into your garden, and I've read different things about whether or not they're actually beneficial to having certain flowers mixed in with certain plants, like marigolds mixed in with tomatoes, but it just looks pretty. That's another reason, if anything, if you want your garden to be a place that you just enjoy and you like, then go ahead and throw some flowers in there. Another thing that you could do if you don't have a lot of in-ground space is that you could put pots near the area that have flowers in them. That's another way that you could bring flowers into your garden as well. Also, make a note of your weather differences by year. I think I've mentioned earlier that there was a really bad drought out in the west this year, and so I didn't plant as many things as I normally would have, and there were certain things that just didn't come up like they should have. I was trying to conserve water, and so we'll see what happens next year. We're all crossing our fingers for for snow this winter so that we can have more water next year, but also a good ski season. That would be really nice as well. You could even include pictures that you've taken of different things. That's one way that you can actually keep track of some of your favorite ideas, is actually take pictures and print them out or keep them in a certain file so that you can go back and say, okay, I remember that I liked this idea. I'd actually like to expand on this, or only take part of it because I don't have as much room as somebody else, or the funds to do the certain things. But there's always something that you can pull out of an idea from somebody else and expand on it and make it your own. Whatever you do, I highly, highly recommend that you keep a list of what you've done either on your phone, or you can have a written list, again with maps. I like to put everything in this folder so that I can go back from year to year, and I just keep it in with my other files, and I go back and I say, okay, I know I wrote something down about where I can buy this certain seed or where I can get this kind of soil. So I keep all of that information in one place. It just makes it a lot easier to go back to and find what you need a little bit later on. Hopefully you've been able to take something away from this video that will help you out in your garden next year. Until next time, grow something you love and just have fun with it.